Yes, the Congress, of course, is our Federal Congress. Part of our Federal Congress is also the re-election of the Federal Council leadership. So, and these all get announced together as one on Sunday afternoon. So the Federal Congress elects the leader of the party. It elects the federal chairperson of the party. The federal chairperson has got 3 deputy chairpersons. And then we also, at the Federal Council, we also elect the chairperson of the Federal Council. It all happened today. And we elect the Federal Finance chairperson. And we elect 3 deputy Federal Council chairpersons. Of course, at the federal leadership level, when you go to the FedEx, when we're not in Congress and in Council, there's a FedEx. That FedEx is chaired by the Federal Council chairperson, and it comprises of those leadership elected there. Also, as Werner explained, our Constitution provides for proportionally representativity from all the provinces, a number of MPs, MPLs, councillors. That's the 3 levels of government, non-public members, which is very important, as well as all our ancillary bodies, which includes, and the Federal Finance Chair, of course, which we elected also. And those bodies include our students' organization, the Women's Network, the Youth, the ADAC, which is Association for DA Councillors. So that's a very broad, in total, who leads the party at federal level as well as Federal Council level. I hope I answered everything, Leolo. I don't know if there any other clarity on that election.
Thank you very much. It's Lucanio, am I correct? Moicanio. In terms of your question on coalitions, the answer is, as a Democratic Alliance, we are going for the win. We are looking to win majority, specifically in the metropolitans, in Gauteng, in the Western Cape, in case across the whole country, Yonke, we are going for the win, 50% +1. In terms of Zekitanda, you spoke about the selection panel. Now, we don't have a selection panel in terms of how candidates get to be on the ballot, quote unquote, but what we do is every single member of the Democratic Alliance in good standing has the opportunity to put their hand up for leadership position. Once you've nominated or you've been nominated, you go through a vetting process. And once you meet all of the requirements, your name is on the ballot. And that is why we have so many candidates who are running, for example, the deputy chairperson positions. And these candidates are diverse. They come from all across the country, different races, different genders, different leadership styles. And this is indicative of the Democratic Alliance. We empower our young people that work within the party. And then when they feel they are ready, they put their hands up. And that is why we have such diverse candidates.
All right, thank you, Nesli. I think I will just address the point around the price of Congress, which is a very interesting question. And I don't have a number or a figure because our provinces incur their own costing to our National Congress, our Federal Congress. So there are costs that provinces incur to bring delegates across to this particular venue. But also we are also accommodating guests from countries across the world who will also be joining us for this Congress. We also have quite a number of international media houses that will also be part of the contribution for this particular Congress. So at this stage, it is an ongoing and working costing, and I'm sure at the end of our debrief on Sunday, we may then be able to give you something. But as of now, it is an ongoing costing process. But of course, we want to make this Congress a Congress where all delegates feel comfortable, all delegates are able to express and debate constitutional amendments, debate our resolutions, but also be able to engage in a fair incredible way in our Congress. So that is very important to us in regards to that particular question. Colleagues, I will then ask if there are any further questions so that we can be able to take them. I do see 2 hands. I'm sure many of the colleagues here in front will be happy with that.
Good afternoon. My name is Sisanda Mbolegwa from the Sunday Times. My question is, does the Federal Congress have a structure that deals with disputes? If someone had put up their hand to contest, and if perhaps, as we've seen with the DA national spokesperson, that she was told that her tithes were not paid up, whereas she has a different recollection of events, does the Congress have a structure that ventilates the disputes that are raised where people feel aggrieved? Thank you very much.
And go Sisi, and then, okay, yeah, just there.
Good afternoon. My name is Zolega Kodashe from Newsroom Africa. I just want to get clarity. I think I heard that the FedEx met today, if I'm not mistaken, and the election of some positions of leadership took place then. Is there a particular reason why this is done by a smaller group of people and not done in the Federal Council, where the delegates would also be part of that selection or election process? Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Sintebo. I'm with the SABC. Can we maybe by any chance get the breakdown in terms of those who are vying for different positions? In terms of your federal chair, deputies, how many people are vying for those positions? Thank you.
Okay, I think if the colleagues up here are happy to maybe take 1 or more questions, because I think some of these questions we can deal with. Is there any more questions? All right. Can I maybe direct the first question in relation to Federal Council as a small body to you, Desiree, and then give over the question around disputes as well as the different candidates standing for the Federal Congress to you as well, Werner, if that's fine. So we can start with you, Desiree, and then Werner after that.
I'm going to try and explain the Federal Council, because I think that's basically what the question is. So if I may give an example, currently the chairperson of the Federal Council is Helen Ziller. The Federal Finance chairperson is Eric Marais, and we have 3 deputies. They each have a portfolio. It consists of Dr. Annelie Lottery, Thomas Walters, and I've forgotten the third name suddenly, Anton Bredel. So the council works, as I said, with more of the governance part of our party. And that election, the council sits a lot more to run the party than the Federal Congress. The Federal Congress only sits every 3 years. Okay? That's the current term. So Federal Council has a FedEx, which is the executive of the council. They meet very often. And that is why also when council meets, they've got a variety of representativity from all the provinces, all their leaderships, the finance person, the ancillary bodies are all part of the council. But council is part of the overall DA at the federal level. So we have our election as part of the Congress. That happened today, where all the people that belongs to the members belonging to Federal Council were present. There's a council meeting where this happens. They are all busy there. And can I say, on Sunday, that is part of it. So when we leave on Sunday, we will have a new federal leader. We will have a new federal chairperson and the 3 deputies. We will have a new Federal Council chairperson, deputies, a federal finance person. And then there are other bodies in our constitution that gets elected on their own turf, so to speak, whatever their positions are. But council is done, but you cannot announce that alone because it's not standing alone in the sense of it's something separate up there. It is part of our federal structure. And I think the representativity is very fair, it's proportionally, non-members are a must, councillors representing different municipalities and provinces, all the members of the provincial legislatures are represented, and the members of parliament of each province get seats on there. So yes, it is, as Werner explained, the proportionality, that no place is left behind in the party. All areas are covered. I don't know if I've answered that more slowly for myself to set it out, to make it more clearer. But that is why on Sunday we will announce the Federal Council winners and the Federal Congress new federal leadership on that part together. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll address the question around how we deal with disputes, specifically around candidature and also between candidates. So we firstly have a formal set of rules, standards of conduct for internal elections. So it's sort of like, I want to say, the IEC's code of conduct and its rules, and it is the duty of the different presiding officers to enforce the standards of conduct. All candidates, when they submit nomination and acceptance of nomination forms, must also agree to abide by the standards of conduct. And the standards of conduct ultimately has some mechanisms built into it. So if one candidate complains about the messaging of another candidate, the tactics of another candidate, then the presiding officers must make a determination of facts and are entitled to then also take remedial action. Of course, when a candidate is unhappy with that specific ruling, and the same applies for when a prospective candidate is unhappy with the decision not to accredit them as a candidate, they can declare a dispute, and then our Federal Legal Commission is empowered to determine that specific dispute. Interestingly enough, I can say, and maybe Desiree must speak in respect of the Federal Council election, but in terms of the Federal Congress election, it has really been a very civil, friendly contest up to now. Of course, those candidates may campaign and canvass up till 6:45 on Sunday morning when voting will open. So it might be that the temperature might still rise between now and then, and that we might get a few complaints to deal with. But up to now, we've not received a single complaint from one candidate about the behavior of another. Loyola, maybe while I am on the floor, we've been also made aware of someone online who sent a question about policy resolutions, and specifically whether we will, as a Congress, be dealing with updating our foreign policy. I can confirm that there's no policy resolution that has been submitted around our foreign policy. So this will not be discussed at the Federal Congress. However, of course, policy making, even though our Federal Congress is the supreme policy making body of the party, isn't limited to when we meet as a Federal Congress every 3 years. We have a policy unit which is constantly working on updating and replacing outdated policies. And as I've said, we also have from time to time policy conferences. And I can confirm that our policy unit is in fact in the process of updating our foreign policy. So that will serve before the Federal Council then in due course. Thanks.
There was a question from the SABC on who are the candidates. So for the leadership position, we have the Mayor of Cape Town, Jordan Hill Lewis, and the DA Sedibeng District Municipality Caucus Leader, Sibusiso Dionasi. In terms of the federal chairperson, we have the Minister of Agriculture, Economic Development and Tourism in the Western Cape, Dr. Ivan Meyer, and the Leader of the Opposition in Gauteng, Salim Simanga. In terms of the federal deputy chairpersons, we have 7 candidates. We have Celia Brink, Belinda Esijonyoko, Siviwe Gwahube, Soli Malatsi, Andrew Mare, Norma French Mbombo, and Nicholas Nyati.
Okay, almost fell there with the pack. Thank you so much, colleagues. I don't think, maybe perhaps just to make sure that everybody's comfortable, are there any more questions after that? I think everything has been covered. Okay, just one. I hope you'll entertain me, the colleagues up here with me. Can we just take that one?
No, just as a matter of clarity, when it comes to the DA spokesperson, what was the remedial action that was taken? Because she said that she didn't owe money, or there was no monies that were used or utilized. So what happened with that case?
Yeah. All right. I think the question with Carol Patton, who asked when are the elections of Federal Council, I think that has been addressed by Desiree. And I think the question by Karine du Plessis has been addressed by yourself, Verna. So can I invite our presiding officer of the Federal Council who dealt with this particular issue, Desiree van der Walt, to then speak on that, and then I will then close for us after that. Desiree?
Okay, the issue that you were referring to is that candidates get nominated. They go through a vetting process, as Nasli explained, and that is a provincial matter. So if I stand for a position, my province must declare that I am in good standing with the party. If I am not, then I am not able to stand as a candidate. If I'm unhappy with that decision, I can appeal as that. There was no such a thing, and therefore couldn't stand right through the process. Okay? That is, and that's why we have the Federal Legal Commission, but that is something that comes from the provinces. They issue that letter of good standing for the candidate, and the process follows from that. And that was the end of it. We are still colleagues, and the process is there for everybody. It doesn't matter where you stand at a local level or a national level, that is the process for all of us. And that is made very clear when we sent out the notices of opening candidateship, nomination, etc. Thank you.